before we left, we went out to dinner, and it was in the old Boston House building, which was at that time called Monroe's Restaurant. There was a piano bar there. It was June, and their regular pianist hadn't come yet, so I took over the place that night, and George Monroe, who was the owner, wanted to hire me. So the following year, when I was 19, I started playing for him, and it's been going on since 1964 now.
And wasn't that kind of the heyday of the hip
Oh,
right here?
well, it was just starting in the mid-60s. It was just beginning. They had the coffee houses here, and I think it was the first year I was here. Jose Feliciano came to one of the coffee houses, and somebody came in and said, "You got to go hear this blind person play the guitar." And I did, and it was phenomenal, extraordinary. And somebody introduced us. This was on a Friday night, and the next afternoon we got together, and I brought him back to Monroe's, and we jammed together. Nobody was there but my uncle, but we played for about an hour, and we really had fun. I was making $175 a week plus my dinner, and I was paying $18 a week for a room and going out to breakfast. So I was rich by any standard at that time. For a 19, 20-year-old kid, I was raking it in. It only lasted for 10 weeks or whatever, but. And here was this guy who was playing in a coffee house, and so I'm the big sport, and I took him and his wife out to dinner, and it was fun. We had a nice chat, and he went off, and 2 weeks later he was at the Newport Folk Festival, and he became famous all overnight. I never heard from him again. I don't know if he'd remember it. I doubt that he would, but I always get a kick out of, I was the big sport, and I took him out to dinner.
Would you go to the Mooncusser and places like that?
Sometimes I did. I couldn't get out at night. I worked 6 nights a week, but I could walk up the street on my breaks. So I would do that if there was somebody told me I really should get to hear. And a few times I would go up. I remember there was an old country singer named Josh White, and I remember going up there after work one night, and the place had been closed for a while, but he was sitting there drinking with people, and I stayed there till 3 o'clock in the morning, listening to him and playing the guitar a little bit, and he'd sing with me. And he wanted to play September Song. In fact, he came down to Monroe's and sang it with me. And he worshipped Eddie Haywood, the pianist who lived here, and he used to come in.
Those early days at Monroe's, who would come?
Oh, we had Leonard Bernstein, we had Lillian Hellman, we had Thornton Wilder. Those are the ones that I got to know the best. I can't say that I got to know them well, but I'd sit at their table and chat with them. The first time I met Bernstein, he was having dinner, and he was a wine aficionado, and George knew a lot about wines and always saved something for him, because he came often enough so that he always had something for him to try. And so I took a break, and George said, "I've just given Bernstein the most expensive bottle of wine I have, on condition that he stay after dinner and come and listen to you in the lounge. So play your ass off." It was a terribly humid night. I don't think it was raining, but it was very humid. And sometimes, particularly with pianos with ivory keys for some reason, the condensation gets all over the keys, and they're slippery and sort of sticky and clammy. And so when I went to play, I decided to play the hardest piece that I knew, of course. It was a very hard classical Chopin piece. And I started to play, and the keys were slippery as hell, and it was like playing on an ice rink, But I couldn't stop. So I was terrified the whole time, and I'm sure I made some more mistakes than I would have. And Bernstein invited me over to sit, and he said, "That was very good. I played that at New England Conservatory when I was 11. So I said, "Yeah, thank you very much, and we had a nice chat, but he was more interested in how I dressed myself and that sort of, No, I shouldn't say that, because I played some West Side Story. I have a medley of the score of West Side Story, and he did say that it was among the best versions of it he'd ever heard, which was, of course, very gratifying. I had another thing happen right around that time when I was hitchhiking with this girl I was in Menemsha, and this couple picked us up, and I had been here maybe 3 years or something, and I was a bit of in a small way, I was a celebrity. And the people they were probably in their 40s, but I thought they were an old couple. And they said, we'd like to ask your advice. I mean, they said, you're making a living in music and you seem to be enjoying it. We have several children who are in their teens, and all they want to do, particularly one of them, is be a singer and a guitar player. And we don't know what to do. I mean, we don't understand his music. We are hesitant to encourage him to do something where we're pretty sure he can't make a living at it. What do you think? But people tell us that he's really good. And, I said, well, if he's really good, if he's good enough, he's going to do it whether you want him to do it or not, because he has to do it. And maybe he'll make connections, and maybe he'll get lucky. But if he doesn't, he'll have a rich life. I said something like that. I don't know. And it turned out to be James Taylor's parents.